Is the gate set to drop on this one, guys?
Yep, B-class underway. As we mentioned, it was Matty Jorgensen getting the win the first time out. And Hayden Deegan, one of the favorites, DNF the Moto with a busted rear wheel. Got collected up with Evan Ferry. Evan Ferry tipped over. Deegan's rear wheel hit Ferry's foot peg, I believe. And that was that. So Deegan on a revenge run here. And this is Matty Jorgensen's chance to make a name for himself, really put himself on the map. We see it in the B-class all the time, where riders take that next step. Maybe they weren't there in the mini bike divisions, but they do it on the big bikes. Evan Ferry off to the early lead in this one. I'm going to call Stasic Holeshot Award for the 75. So Ferry, who had that tip over in Moto 1, I think he got third, is out front.
And somewhere Steve Mathis is having a great time watching this, huh, Weed?
Absolutely, which I did not think I could say about him watching an amateur race. You talk about 20 years since you've come here. Yeah, Mathis's old buddy, his kid is about to be pro. That's how quickly time flies. There is Deegan about mid-pack. Now remember that DNF in Moto 1, Adam, he's got a terrible gate pick again.
Terrible gate pick, and man, the ruts are so deep. It looks like they ripped the track. And I think, you know, when everybody's bunched up these first couple laps, you have a bad gate pick like that. Obviously, the emphasis is just getting around as many guys as possible while everybody's stacked up. And it looks like he's making his way towards the front. We may have a Evan Ferry Deegan battle.
Yeah, a little bit of heat yesterday. They both said it was a racing incident. Ferry just tipped over. It wasn't like he got taken out or anything. But those deep ruts. Is track always? Oh, go ahead. You got something on that?
Yeah. Well, even if you say it's a racing incident, if you get cleaned out and you complain about it, you don't say it's a racing incident. It's just not the look you want. You know.
So everything's a racing incident. Everything's racing.
There's still going to be a little attitude with this one, if I had to guess.
Well, Ferry had just crashed, and Deegan tried to get out of the rut and around him and didn't make it, and that was the end of it. So Daxton Bennett, who had a great race yesterday, he kept Deegan honest in the other class all the way to the end. I feel like it's kind of a rebirth here for Dax Bennett. He's had a couple of rough years at Loretta's. He's second, and there's Jorgensen in third. So we're off to the races, Rodney. This is going to be good.
Absolutely, and our key players that we want to see up front are just exactly there. Deegan, like we say, buried back there in 10th place at the end of lap number 1, but
somebody's bike smoking here.
That's the 29 of Julian Bomer, I believe. Bomer, if we take a look at Moto 1 results, DNF'd in Moto 1, so this might be a problem that might be arising for him.
Jeez, man.
It's never a good feeling when you see the bike smoking and you're out there. I mean, what are you going to do? You're not.
That's Jorgensen, isn't it? No, that's Bennett. Bennett, our second place rider, has gone down. And, he might have hurt himself. Is that Jorgensen or Bennett? It's either the 1-4 or the 4-1. That's our first Moto winner? Yes?
I believe so, yeah.
Was it the 1-4 or the 4-1?
And sometimes when you go down like that and it's so soft like this, you basically need a shovel to try to get your grip out of the dirt. Looks like he was just trying to find where the handlebar was right there.
Okay, that's better than he banged himself up in that crash. I'll give it that. There is Ferry. It's Bennett still up. So our first Moto winner has crashed. That's changed things in a hurry. Right now, Ferry might be, I know it's early days, but he'd be sitting on a 3-1 right now if he can hold this. Bennett's definitely starting to come on strong this year. 2 rough years at Loretta's in the B class, like I said. I think he's starting to close the gap here. AC's catching Ferry a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it. These front two look like they're breaking away a little bit. I see Deegan back there in 10th. These next few laps are going to be really important. These guys are going to get away if he doesn't get up there quick.
Okay, you had a year like that, I think, where things were just going bad right from the start. How hard is it to get your head back in the game? If you're Deegan, you have no chance at the title. You DNF the first moto. Can you really bring that same intensity to 2 motos that are not going to mean anything title-wise?
Well, I think it's, if you blow it in the first moto, something happens, you're not able to win the title, you just want to prove that you're the best guy.
Okay.
So there's a lot of motivation from that standpoint. The pressure's off, and you want to go out there and just lay it down and feel like you prove to everybody and to yourself that you're the best guy. So I think, regardless of the title situation, I think Deegan is going to be motivated to make something happen here.
Is there any honest redemption out of doing something like that? Say you have a DNF in Moto 1 and come out and sweep the second. Do you feel somewhat redeemed?
Oh, yeah, I think so for sure. You go DNF 1-1. It's kind of you're still like the guy,
right?
And from the guy that had a good, like Evan Ferry in the first moto, winning the first moto. For him, it's obviously he knows he doesn't need to beat him, right? So kind of a catch-22 there, but yeah, you want to sweep it if you can, obviously.
We'll see how this plays out. Deegan's up to 4th, but Julian Bomer, who's in 3rd, has the bike that's smoking. I don't know if it's going to get to the end. And our first moto winner after the tip over, I think he might be done. He was not rushing back to the motorcycle, Jorgensen, and he's not in our top 16. We don't have him on the board.
No, he's 12th right now.
12th place. Oh man, that's going to be tough. Can he even scratch it back into the top 5? So Ferry, who's third in Moto 1, he's got an opportunity here, but he's got to get away from Dax Bennett. Let's see where Bennett's scores were in the first Moto.
He finished 4th in Moto 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
nice.
4th. So he's looking at a 4.2 right now.
Oh, so there's every bit of motivation for Bennett to try to get Ferry and make it a 4-1. And that would tie them up.
Yeah, and just being kind of disconnected from the amateur scene, obviously doing my own thing and coming back and seeing these guys, it's crazy to see how riding styles have evolved. I see these guys carrying so much roll speed into these turns. I think as an older guy, you always kind of tend to say, like, oh, back in my day, we were this, we were that.
Okay.
But everything is progressing. Everything is progressing, and just watching these two go at it right now, it's crazy to see the improvement.
And I'll tell you who's improved. It's Bennett, because he has cut that gap down on Ferry. How much can be gained and lost just by line choice with how wide this track gets and all those ruts? I mean, how much of it is just speed, or how much is it better lines?
Well, I think with a track like this that has so many ruts, once you start going to, like, whatever you... Oh, looks like we...
Oh, here it is right here. Here it is.
Oh,
he's going to make the move on the outside. He's got the inside in this left-hander. Bennett, who can get the drive off. Mistake by Ferry. Bennett to the lead. Well, there's the lines working for him.
Yeah, and I think it's tough once you start going to your line the first couple laps. It's easy to get locked into the one line and not want to experiment with others because there's so many out there. You're almost overwhelmed. So I think it's just about, Evan needs to kind of sit behind Daxon and try to figure out where he's better and maybe, make a run at him here in a few laps.
Yeah, we had Jeff Emig up here yesterday, and he was saying, think about how difficult it is to be taking your line and then also kind of, hey, I'm going to look at that one and think about that maybe the next time around. And I had never thought of it that way. You're doing two things at once, really.
Yeah.
Scouting a line while you're in another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to keep your head on a swivel. We always talked about Stu back in the day having great peripheral vision.
Oh, okay.
That's a huge thing. You keep your head up. Like I said, keep your head on a swivel. Adapt as the motor goes on, and we see Tomac, Sexton do the same thing. The guys at the top of the sport are always doing that. Oh, a little square up.
Nice by Deegan to go from outside to in and get around Julian Boehmer for the number 3 spot. That's the good news. The bad news for them is they're almost 6 seconds back of the leaders.
The interesting thing to me about that final turn, did you notice there were, definite defined entrances, and then when you come out, there's like 2 different exits out of the same line. And, do those develop like that purposefully?
I think a lot of the times when the rut blows out or it creates a big hook in the rut, guys will start kind of early apexing, cutting out of the rut, just so they're not getting the disruption of the hook and having to clutch it and keep the front wheel down. Man, these guys are ripping.
The roll speed right there, it totally caught you. Yes, so roll speed, explain what that is. That's like mid-corner?
I think what I've seen in racing the last, since I've been doing it, is guys, normally it's really fast coming into the turns, you brake really hard, get on the gas really hard, and what I've noticed the trend, especially in the pro ranks now, and it's trending down to the amateurs, is just a lot of coasting. You grow up and you're kind of told not to coast, but these guys are light on the brakes. The bike works way better, especially in these ruts that have bumps in them, if you're light on the brakes. So it's more of just like it's not a go stop. It's kind of just like a consistent mile per hour through these turns.
That makes sense. We were talking about that. There's let's say that was Ryan Dungey. Light brake, light gas. One consistent speed instead of 100% one or 100% of the other. If you average it out, it's fast.
Exactly, and think about when you're charging so hard in, braking so hard, and then getting on the gas again. That's a lot of weight change. You're taking a lot on your forearms. It becomes difficult to ride like that. So I would say the ceiling is higher if you can figure out how to have roll speed. Obviously, there's guys like Barsha. There's guys that ride different ways and get it done different ways. But if I had to pick a riding style, that would be the most efficient across all conditions.
But let me ask you this: how hard is it mentally to know that is faster? Because nothing feels faster than come in and brake as hard and late as possible and get on the gas as hard as possible.
Well, it's really tough to make that change.
Yeah.
Because you do feel like you're going so slow.
Right.
I've been fortunate a lot to ride with Ken Roxon, and he is the king of that roll speed. You know, he'll land off a triple with 10 feet to the next corner. He won't even touch the brakes or the gas. He'll just roll through the turn, right? So it's a lot of specific work you have to do to understand that that's faster.
So you've done it. You've gone out there specifically riding with that skill set in mind.
In 2016, when I came back from injury, I didn't do too good that outdoor season, but that was the only thing in my mind all season long was
no way.
I have to figure out, because where I was with my riding style, I had reached my ceiling. I couldn't get any better. That was going to be it. So I had to slow it down in my mind until I started to figure it out, and then you're able to kind of build speed from there.
So you probably were slower at first.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yes. Quite a bit.
Wild.
Quite
Really?
a bit slower, and it's difficult because you just want to make a lot of noise, a lot of clutch, a lot of gas, and especially when you've been doing that a long time, you create those habits, and it's difficult to get out of. But just watching these kids now, man, they have it so down. It's so fun to watch.
Watching, you just saw Ferry there. He's back to second and losing some ground. So Bennett is getting away. If it ends like this, Bennett is sitting on a 4-1, and Ferry would be sitting on a 3-2. They would be tied going into the final moto. As for poor Matty Jorgensen, he was third early in this moto. He crashed. He's ninth. He would have a 1-9. And Deegan's out of it because he DNF'd the first moto. But let's see if Deegan, could he track down Ferry?
Looks like he's got about 3 seconds to make up. Plenty of time left. About 8 minutes. It's going to be a good one, Weed. It's going to be a good one.
All right, because we're only halfway, and let's make it up at a half second a lap. It could come right down to the end.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see if there's some little attitude involved. I know it was a racing incident.
That's right.
I know it was a racing incident. But these guys are so competitive. They want to win so bad, and it looks like he's gaining on them a little bit.
He has gained on it quite a bit. He knocked it down from a 5-second gap between he and Ferry now down to just over 3 seconds at 3.1. So, yeah, he is definitely on the charge. He just turned a 155.151. That's not the fastest. Now, Bennett has a 154.9, just below the 155, but I'll tell you, these guys have got some great speeds right now.
Yeah, that 155, I believe that's Deegan's best of the moto. It was almost 2 seconds quicker than Ferry, so he was inching up on him. A couple tenths here and there. Another mistake by Ferry. This is going to help Deegan even more. I wouldn't be surprised if we got him in the same shot soon on the trip back to Storyland back here. So Bennett is the best time in the moto, and he's pulling away. But this battle for second, it's starting to heat up.
In a track like this, so deep ruts, a lot of tight corners, when you're not flowing and you're making some mistakes, it's easy for that to snowball, because more effort doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go faster. You have to try hard in the right areas, and a lot of the times it's like what we talked about. It's a lot of roll speed, a lot of coasting, being light on the bike, carrying momentum, and on tracks like this specifically, when it starts going south for you, it can be difficult to get it back on track.
Man, those ruts are unbelievable right there. And Ferry's stuck behind a lap rider. There's one lap rider between him and Deegan, but Deegan is a whole lot closer than he was 2 laps ago, and we're about to have a battle for second on our hands. And can Ferry survive this? He needs every position. If he gets bumped back to third, that's going to change the championship picture. There's your leader, 41 of Dax Bennett. Great moto yesterday, about second off of Deegan at the end. And they used to battle wheel to wheel. I mean, Deegan and Bennett in the 85cc ranks, 65s, they were almost equals. And then Deegan really got the drop on him the last couple of years. Good to see Bennett back on his old form. There's Ferry. And let's see how close it is. There's Deegan.
2 seconds is what we're seeing right now. So another second peeled off there by Hayden Deegan. Lap times that time 158.5, pretty consistent for Ferry, a 157.2 that time for Hayden Deegan. So he just keeps chipping.
See Deegan wheelie that?
Those
bumps there.
Oh yeah. Some goat farm stuff right there.
Okay.
Maybe Genie's on them.
It is fun, yeah. So the Star Racing team purchased Ricky Carmichael's old riding facility, the Goat Farm, and the team works there, and their trainer Gareth Swanepoel works there. But Jeannie Carmichael still shows up.
She's part of the deed.
As Bobby Regan, the team owner, said, "Don't worry, the goats are still there. The goats are still on the farm." So Ricky's mom still shows up. The riders tell him, they're like, "Man, if you see this beat up Chevy Tahoe driving up the road, you're in for a long day. So he's soaked up those lessons, I'm sure.
I'll try to keep this story short,
Okay.
but my first time to Ricky's track back in 2008, a year after he retired, we were both out there for some type of photo shoot, but doing a moto. My dad was giving me the pit board next to Jeannie, and my dad was drinking water, and Jeannie said, no, they can't have water when they're out on the track, so there's no water allowed until they're done. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's gnarly just for the sake of being gnarly.
Right?
There's no need for that except I'm just tough. Wow. That's what they preach down there. Deegan soaking it up. But he had the 155 the previous lap, then a 157. Let's see what this time is. He's catching Ferry, but not as quickly as he was a few laps ago.
And sometimes you have to be really disciplined. Obviously, Deegan did that 155. He got super close, but then you start getting closer to them. You kind of start paying attention to their lines, start paying attention to kind of, you kind of get locked in on the back of the jersey. So Hayden just needs to keep doing what he's doing, do his own thing. And wow, that was a cool line.
Yeah, hopping and popping.
If you believe what timing and scoring saying right here, it's saying less than a second separated those guys as they came across the finish line stripe. And if that be the case, Ferry is under some really hot and high pressure right now.
And only 2 to go. So time running out for Deegan to get him. And again, Ferry needs this spot. If he ends up 3-3 going into the final moto, that's a big advantage.
Oh, here it comes.
Bennett.
He's got to run on the inside here.
He's got the line. That outside line, we heard Megawatt talking about it. If you can get the drive, you can triple through this. But, man, Deegan's got the better drive from the inside, it looks like.
Well, that did not work out for Ferry at all. That wasn't even close how wide he went. And he never even saw Deegan. They never even came close to each other. Deegan has the spot. So, advantage, Dax Bennett now.
Yeah,
he could be sitting on a 4-1 and make his life a whole lot easier going into that last moto. It's odd to think that 4th in Moto 1 is what got the job done, but the scores don't lie. Let's see who's second in that one. Base Fluke. We finally got Base Fluke on the radar. He is 5th right now. Somehow, Julian Boehmer's bike is still going. He started smoking on the 2nd lap. He's 4th. Base Fluke 5th. So Base Fluke could have a 2-5. So he's still in contention. Be a point off of, or 2 points off of Bennett. Dayton Briggs 6th. Trevor Collins 7th. Jorgensen has climbed back up to 8th, so he'd have a 1-8. Casey Bernard is 9th. Trevin Nelson rounds out the top 10. Aiden Kiefer 11th. Lane Allison 12th. Lux Turner, Mark Finesse, Ron Johnson, and Grant Hoffman. That's your top 16. With the white flags coming out here for Bennett.
And how about it for Dax
Go to the
Bennett?
podium. Go ahead, boys.
Yeah, I mean, how about it for Dax Bennett? I mean, this is a rider that we've obviously watched grow through the Loretta Lynn ranks, and each year he seems to just be more and more solid. And I'm not going to lie, I mean, I expected him to be a contender, but Adam, he is really in control of things right now.
Yeah, it's interesting, the development. Everybody has a kind of unique development, Some guys will take big steps when they're on 85. Some guys will kind of wait till they get on big bikes to make that next step up. But definitely, I see what you see. And I've watched Dax grow up a little bit. And just this last couple of years, he's made a big step. And you can kind of tell, you can kind of see the progression. You can see the kind of his arc and where he's going to go. And man, does it look good right now. He's making it look easy.
He is, and whenever you take into account the talent that he's battling against, I mean, not only in Evan Ferry and Hayden Deegan, but I mean the rest of this class, riders like Base Blue, riders like Jorgensen, riders like Mark Phineas. I mean, those are some top riders that we expect up there as well. And I mean, and we've got other riders, Boehmer, Dayton Briggs up there, Trevor Collins is another rider we've watched grow up, and man, he is really solid here as he moves through the ranks.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a lot of these guys in the top 10 that have a potential to have a real future in the sport, to have factory rides, to be up there on podiums and, pro motocross.
And that's been one of the big surprises to me. At one time it was all about the prodigies. They made the step out. They made the step up. You win the Horizon Award. You're the next big thing. And now we're seeing a lot of these riders that maybe never won a championship, maybe only win a few golds here and there. When they make their way to the professional ranks, they appear to actually be stronger.
Yeah.
They do better there than what they did in the amateur side.
Well, there's no secrets anymore. Everybody knows what everybody's doing program-wise, and I think that's why you see the gap getting closer and closer.
Checkers are out, and Daxton Bennett has taken the win. Sorry about that. Hayden Deegan taking second, Evan Ferry in third. That's the way they'll go to the podium. Looks like Boehmer, Base Flug in 4 and 5, then Briggs, Collop, Jorgensen should hold on for 8th, Bernard in 9th, and Trevin Nelson in the number 10 spot.
And it looks like Daxton was so focused, so locked in, that he just kept going on the checkered flag. He's out there
I was going
doing
to say he's
another
still
one.
going after it, but I swore I saw a checker flag.
Yeah, fitness looks good on the bright side.
Hey, I have got 2 greats here in the racing world. Do you know that guy right behind you by any chance? Stu
Oh,
Bailey.
yeah.
Stu
This guy could tune me up in the woods.
Stu Baylor making his way up into the tower now as Dax Bennett, Hayden Deegan, Evan Ferry. We see them. They are finishing just like that. There is no changes. Actually, Collins at 6, Briggs in 7, Jorgensen 8, Bernard and Nelson. Trevin Nelson rounding out the top 10. So, well, I guess Stu, Adam, Stu.
As wild as it is, I met him when he was a kid. I was also a kid. My dad was yelling at me to catch up with this little kid on an 85. I just got the big bike. Little kid on an 85 was working me over. His dad was yelling at him because he wasn't going fast enough. I'm like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
I love it.
Yeah, I remember that day very well. I was getting smoked by a kid on a KX85.
You're probably not the only one, Stu, that's for sure. As will be a few extra moments getting Dax Bennett onto the podium simply because he's taking the victory lap out here in Moto number 2. Now, that says something about the focus of a rider, I think. Whenever you're that tuned in, you don't even notice. I mean, you're 20 minutes into a moto, you know, and all of a sudden you're getting, you know, you're not even noticing the flags. I mean, that shows concentration, that shows dedication, that shows preparation, I think.
And Daxton was out front early, too, so it's even more difficult to stay focused like that when you have a little bit of a gap, you have the race under control, and he was just dialed in. You could see it. It's that flow state.
So he beats the entire field by a lap. He'll be heading down to the podium, and what a great ride for Dax Bennett. You know, good to see. Like we say, I mean, these riders really starting to shine out here, and he'll be headed down, and he'll be talking with Jason Wygant here in just a moment. A well-deserved drink of water. Now his mechanic can drink, right?
Absolutely. There we go.
So we'll give them a chance to get things sorted out again. Bennett, Hayden Deegan in second. A great ride coming back from that DNF. Ripped the, well, just basically shredded the spokes in his tire and couldn't finish the moto after Ferry had gotten caught in that turn.
But a great result after that gate pick, too, to make those moves early.
Yes.
It looks like he put down a 153 on the last lap, too.
Wow. That's, wow. 153.6 on the last lap. That brought him, he was within 0.7 of a second. I didn't even catch that of Dax Bennett. I was just watching Bennett go through the checkers, you know.
Hey, I'll tell you who didn't see himself go to the checkers was Bennett himself. He did an extra lap. He kept cruising. So I'm going to go 3-2-1 with this podium because Dax just got in here, took an extra 2 minutes to get back over to the podium. He didn't see the checkers, I would assume. So I'm going to look for our third place finisher, Evan Ferry, and we'll bring him up, and we'll do a 3-2-1 podium because Bennett took a victory lap. So we're looking for the third place finisher here, and a good run for him. He also got the Stasic Hole Shot Award, and a good battle with both Bennett and Deegan to put his Yamaha up in the third. Let's bring Evan Ferry on up when we can get him, and then we'll talk to Hayden Deegan second and our Moto winner, who is Dax Bennett. So we're looking for Evan Ferry to come on up. There he is. All right, he's in title contention with a pair of thirds. He's got a Stasic Hole Shot Award and another bronze. Evan Ferry. You actually got the whole shot the other day. You were nice enough. You thought somebody else got it, so your starts are certainly dialed. How's the rest of the riding going?
The rest of the riding going really good. You know, I'm definitely trending in the right direction. Had some pretty big get-offs, I guess, you know, the first couple days. So, you know, working those kinks out. But, you know, I'm feeling better each day. And, yeah, you know, I'm super excited to come out with a pretty good, you know, being in the contention for the title this year.
All right, who do you want to thank, Evan?
You know, Ed Torrance and Jake Butler and the whole NSA Yamaha team. They had that bike hooking up really good on the start. The Dunlop tires working really good. And, yeah, you know, I want to thank all those guys, Alpine Star, Bell, Rockstar, Moose, and FMF, and everybody that helps me out. Thank you.
All right, there it is. Third place, Evan Ferry. And now we'll bring up our runner-up, which is Hayden Deegan. DNF Moto number 1, and had a bad gate pick, bad start in this one. Was able to come back and almost got to the rear wheel of your race winner at the end with a ridiculous last lap. Let's hear it for Danger Boy, Hayden Deegan. Once again, you had I'm assuming, terrible gate from that first moto, right?
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. You know, I started 40th gate. It was my fault, though. Me and Evan came together. But, yeah, I just ripped that, and the kid next to me kind of turned into me, so I got a very bad start. And I seen there were like 3 sections ahead. I'm like, this ain't going to be good. I got to charge. So I made my way up to Evan, got around him, and then I set my eyes on Dax. I only had 2 laps left, and I got close, but it was a good race. Daxon did well. Okay,
who do you want to thank?
The whole Monster Energy Star Race Yamaha team, my mom, dad, Mechanic Wyatt, everyone at the Star Yamaha team. They do a great job helping me get here, and yeah, it's been awesome. And Method Race Wheels. Okay,
there it is. Silver medal, Hayden Deegan. He's going to play spoiler in this championship. They didn't finish first moto with the broken wheel, but it's going to be interesting, that final moto. Now we will give the gold out. This championship is crazy. First moto winner, Matt Jorgensen, crashed in this moto. He finished 8th or 9th. So this guy is sitting on a 4-1, and that would actually give him the points lead going into the 3rd and final moto. And he had to work for it, had to get around Ferry to make it happen. Let's hear for the number 41, your gold medalist, Dax Bennett. First, real quick, did you not see the checkered flag?
I had to get my extra sight lap in because I missed the first one.
Okay, there we go. You know the lines now. How was that moto for you?
It was good. I got up to a second place start, which I know I need to do, and just rode smart. And then once I got past Evan, I started trying to hammer a little bit, and I don't know, it was a good race. The track was pretty tricky, but I had a lot of fun.
Your confidence has to be growing. The moto scores keep getting better and better. Now you got a gold. Is it getting better throughout the week, confidence-wise?
Yeah, definitely getting a lot better. That was a big one.
Yeah, exactly. The first moto, you ended up 4th. What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like started catching the top 3 and then just kind of stuck in time a little bit. But, yeah, we backed it up with a 1.
All right, he's got it now. Who do you want to thank?
The Lord Jesus Christ for keeping me safe, KTM Orange Brigade, FMF, Scott Goggles, Dunlop Tires, Ethica, and everyone else that helps. Thank you.
There it is, folks. Dax Bennett, your gold medalist.